Well, I'm sorry to inform you all that we're back, and unfortunately we're going to be talking about knives again. Luke's here with me this time, and we're going to just relive a discussion that we've had over the last, probably the last year or something, or since you went to Sweden, I think it
discussion,
was.
argument.
Yeah, argument. Lay into it a little bit.
So I went to the Global Bushcraft Symposium, and we were out there for a week doing bushcraft, and I decided there and then, after after having a Scandi grind knife on my belt, that I don't like Scandi grinds anymore, because the majority of what I do in the woods, I found I don't need a Scandi grind, because they're great at wood, like they're amazing at cutting wood, but I can carve a notch, I can put a point on a stick with a saber ground knife, but Scandi grinds are just horrible for food prep. I was doing a lot of food prep, and so if you want to, take any sort of pride in what you cook and you want to prepare your ingredients properly, then I found a saber grind is just way better for that.
So this is where you and me differ quite a bit, because I'm very much not interested in cooking. I'm very much like a wham bam thank you ma'am with whatever I'm eating.
Oh, it's all I've got. Like I take a lot of effort into the stuff I make out in the woods, like the food, and I take a lot of pride in that. Whereas
with me, I like wood processing and wood carving and all that sort of stuff. So to me, I still carry a Scandi ground knife or a convex grind. Scandi Vex is probably my favourite. But our discussions sort of brought us onto, well, this is an interesting knife, isn't it? So this is
a great knife.
One of yours.
Yeah.
And you've been using that loads recently. So that is the J. Russell Green River. And a bit of history about that. It's one of the most, probably the most iconic knife of the American frontier.
Yeah.
Was it in the early 1800s? All of the knives in the American frontier and in the American West were being exported over from Britain, so Sheffield.
Yeah.
They had a lot of butcher's knives and things coming from Sheffield, and I think it was J. Russell started the first American, all-American knife company, the Green River Knife Company. And this is the Green River Hunter.
Yeah, that's the Hunter model. They're really hard to get in the UK, but you can buy the blanks. So I bought the blank and I put a handle on it myself and made the sheath.
So just looking at this knife, I can see straight away we've got about a 5-inch blade with a very kind of acute belly on it.
Yeah.
Which is going to lend itself really well to slicing, and things like getting inside and fleshing out something.
Well, basically the whole fur traders. Their belt knife was basically a butcher knife.
Yeah.
A lot of the trade knives are just butcher knives.
100%. And again, we've got a really nice fine point there as well. Excellent for game prep. And the grind. So this is a full flat grind. So it's going to slice really well, especially on this. I think it's like 2.5 mil, 2 mil.
Yeah, it's very thin.
Very, very thin. So maybe not great for heavy batoning, but for slicing meat and just going through material, I can see this is going to work really well. Handle is very simple.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know you like handles like that. For me, I like a bit more kind of going on there. But this is an iconic knife. This is something that paved the way.
Yep.
In the American frontier, and it's fantastic. And it's because of this and me and Luke's discussion, that I decided to try something different with my knife design, and that brings us on to this, which is the Waheela. Very similar to the Green River knife, same sort of blade profile, maybe slightly deeper on the belly.
Yeah, I was looking at that just now.
The handle's more my style, because we've got contours and we've got a flare at the end there and a little ramp here as a guard. But essentially it's a very similar knife, except this one's in ABL and that one is in 1095.
Yeah, I really dislike the steel. I've only got this as sort of like a history thing.
I'm not knocking 1095 really for a user perspective like that, because it's going to patina up nicely, it's easy to sharpen. But I guess if you were looking for something a bit more high-end performance in a wetter environment, ABL is your guy. But essentially the Waheela is a modernised, or my take on the Green River Hunter. Have a little look and you'll sort of see the design influence, I guess.
Yeah, I really like this. also with it's got a bit more of a stouter tip. The tip on the Green River sort of curves up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's thicker. I wouldn't batten with this.
No.
Ever. This is sort of like a summer knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because number one, it's not wet outside, so the carbon steel isn't gonna rust, and I don't need to get onto the inside of wood with battening. So this has been a summer knife for me. But this is fantastic, and that full convex is just really strong. So that I can tell you that's going to chop an onion like a chef's knife.
Well, that's the thing, and I wanted it to be able to do a bit of light batoning. I want it to be able to slice through wood as well as excel at slicing through food. So, you know, onions, geleing an onion, game prep, all of that sort of stuff. And I do quite a bit of hunting myself, so having a knife that's dedicated for that purpose, for me, is quite nice. And I have been using this quite a lot in the kitchen and then just for general purpose stuff as well. As I say, it's different from what I'd normally carry, which would be a Scandi Vex, but I'm really enjoying it. It's lightweight, it's large enough to do some really crazy, powerful stuff. Also quite good for clearing brambles again, because we can hold it.
Put a little elastic lanyard on it.
But I mean, as far as using the knife, it is thick enough to baton with, just about.
I wouldn't go through anything serious with it, but just breaking down kindling.
Feather sticks, I mean, as long as you can get the angle of that grind right, which sometimes takes a bit of practice, it does throw some really nice curls actually. So that's that box ticked. Handle, you know, it feels comfortable, it works well, it's grippy, and it still has that traditional feel. Aside from that, I'm starting to go for a leather sheath as well. Neither of us like leather, but I thought with something that's kind of traditional feeling, why not go with it?
I agree. So, a lot of people do like leather. I'd have a Kydex sheath for that personally, just because, again, for me, I'm doing a lot of food prep, and it's an inert material. If you put your knife back in, and it's just a bit gunky, you know, you can wash out the sheath. You can't really do that with leather.
100%.
But it's personal preference. You know, the pioneers were carrying leather sheaths, and they did quite well.
Exactly, and also carbon steel. And I should also say, you know, the knife itself, because it's got a Makata handle and a stainless steel blade, that even if the sheath were to get a bit wet, it's not necessarily going to affect the blade in any way.
They're just inert to the elements on
exactly. Well, mostly. I mean, Makata can get a bit of water on the surface, but it doesn't really do much.
Yeah, it's not like if you have a wooden handle, it can sort of soak in and warp the wood.
Yeah,
it's just like really nicely stabilised.
Yeah, there's no danger of that happening with this sort of thing. Right, so as the main chef of the ATP Bushcraft YouTube channel, could you explain why a grind like that, so a thin convex or a full flat grind, works better for processing food?
So for me, I like this kind of grind, as I said, for food prep. The reason it works better than a Scandi grind is because the whole knife just slices through. As you'll see from the footage, I can get some really thin, translucent slices of onion and tomato. And for different recipes, that's what you want. You might not need that, you might need chunks, but it's up to what you're cooking. But with a Scandi grind, it just wedges through the food, which is great when you're doing wood. But with food, for me, it's just not that good. And that's why I personally prefer this. You can use this, as we've shown, for all manner of bushcraft tasks. It's not going to be great for carving, but notching everything.
So I'd say, we've used it for bushcraft tasks, we've done some cutting with it, we've done some batoning with it. It will cut, it will slice well. And you can carve with it, you just got to get used to the edge angle. The main drawback of this type of edge, when you're using it against wood or heavier things like battening or chopping, is because this edge will wear faster. Not only is it a bit thinner, but when you're using a Scandi grind or a convex grind, a lot of the actual work is done by splitting the fibres of the wood. And as long as it's the right angle, and it's not going to just break it apart, and you know, there needs to be a trade-off. Whereas a blade this thin, a grind this thin, it's just going to be cutting the whole way. So your edge is continuously coming into contact with the material. So when you're batoning something, it doesn't just start and then wedge it apart, it just slices straight through, which is quite nice, but it is going to wear your edge a bit quicker.
It's just worth pointing out, because of the steel though, it's not gonna be a drastic thing. It's not even probably going to be that noticeable but you know, over a long period of time.
Oh, totally. And that's one of the benefits of ABL is you've got a bit more edge retention than you would over your basic carbons, but it's also so easy to maintain and keep it sharp.
Yeah, this for me personally, what I do in the woods is a better bushcraft knife than a Scandi grind. Personally, for me, a lot of people might not agree with that. A lot of people would choose a Scandi grind. That doesn't make a Scandi grind bad.
No.
It just means, you know, it's just nice
Horses
to have
for
options,
courses.
Yeah.
Different jobs, and different people do different things in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the question is, what do you do more in the woods? Do you do more food prep, cooking, or do you do more sort of craft work and woodwork? Everyone's different, and that reflects in the choice of tools.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so thank you very much, guys. Sorry that we're back, but we are. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you like the Waheela. It's an interesting one for me. And go steady. We'll catch you again soon.
Goodbye.